for Footballers Only. This is all about the beautiful game, football. On here, we talk to players before they become professionals. We talk to professionals, we talk to coaches, and we talk to fans of the game. We also cover hot topics and present our views on football news. For Footballers Only is brought to you by the DC11 Project. You can learn more by going to dcxiproject.com.
And then as time kind of went on, especially as it now pertains to Aspire, it was, seeing that the players that we had, they were good, hardworking kids, whatever. But what was really happening was we were missing raw talent. You know what I'm saying? And it was a lot of kids that were just willing. They would pay. They're going to pay anyways to play. So it wasn't even like I could have said the fee was $400 a season. They're going to pay. So it's those, this type of players as opposed to players that just was hungry. And so we had some information that maybe we should open this up to schools. And so I started looking into a player that went to joined our team, went to Paint Branch. And so I had a tryout at Paint Branch, and it was almost 25 people showed up. And I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And then as I talk to them, I'm realizing these guys, I say, so what team are you on now? You know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, no, I don't play on a team. I was like, do you even play for a high school team? No, we don't play on a high school team. I'm like, how is this possible? How are you guys, even high school, I thought they would have been playing, but there's a lot of process in that. But in terms of club ball, they just weren't playing. Or I hear a lot of stories that I was on a team that was too expensive. And So then that, I would say, really, that's where it became a drive of just, instead of just coaching, to more branding something that's going to help youths get into the sport. And then you flash back to where I was saying about Jamaica, about not having to play. That whole drive was like, yeah, nobody should be, not say you don't pay, because obviously coaches need to eat, no question. But there's a different way in which is why I work with a lot of the, I work with corporate sponsors to fund those things, because we're getting it from, instead of taking it from parents, we can take it from the businesses that want their things advertised. They want their names out there. They get tax write-off anyways for half the stuff. So it's just channeling or tapping into that to kind of create something different. So that's kind of where, you could say the journey begun, or journey stand, especially with me. So.
Yeah.
Was that the longest response I gave? But I gave you a lot.
There's
a beautiful story.
Yeah, there's so much. At so many points I wanted to chime in. The only point I chimed in, I guess, was Patrick's, because Patrick's those kicks. I mean, those were. Whew.
That's the first I've ever heard about that. Is it like
it has a P? It has a P on there. With like a design. Yeah.
Is it Patrick Vieira? Oh no.
No. It was way before Patrick Vieira. Even
Patrick Umbro was the jersey, and Patrick was my shoe.
Okay. A couple of things I want to just go back on. The first thing is the shock to your system when you came and you play the Latino team in Wheaton. Yeah. And they washed you guys. Mm-hmm. And then you go and play your league, that's supposed to be, all the classically trained kids. And it's just night and day, right? Yeah. And so this is something I talk about. James can tell. Everybody knows this. I talk about this all the time, because what I do with Michael and kids that follow us is this as well. I just drop, I like to drop him and them in these different environments. Yeah. And it's like clockwork. You see these kids in Langley Park, or, in these predominantly immigrant places that can ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
Right. And then, I'm always wondering what happens, right? Because these kids are light years ahead of all the other kids in all these club programs, these big, all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And then come, teenage years, and then you go to high school or even college, D1. Mm-hmm. None of them are there.
Absolutely. No.
Do you know what I mean? So
it's a whole different thing. Yeah. But
So I know you're doing that work.
But I know what you're saying, but still it's beyond, even though I am, there is challenges there that but for sure. I'll leave it for that.
No. So just like for you, like, how did you process that? In your head, when you were playing the team in Wheaton, and they're just balling on you guys.
Man, it felt like playing Mexico. Honestly, it felt like you stepped in
like the national team,
the Concacaf Finals, and it was you versus them, and it was I just did. They were just ballers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that, like I said, it was just. They and it was an experience, and I always remember because we do it once a year preseason, and it was like, oh, we gotta play them, you know what I mean? And when I mentioned Mexico, it's serious, like how Mexico moves. Like you watch Mexico, they play they're running off. You know what it is? As I'm older, as an understand as a coach, it's the runs off the ball.
Yeah,
that stuff is. I mean, yeah, they'll do all this dribbling stuff, but it's the guys flying this way and that way, and you're trying to figure out why he's running this way. And all of a sudden he's, on sides, and that's kind of like how Mexico plays. But it's just the idea of sheer just understanding and pressure. I guess maybe that's what it felt like. Just constant pressure. You thought you made a tackle and it was a clearance. No, the other guy gets it back and you got to make another. It's just a constant thing, and so then it's never. And it's just, yeah, you're right. And so naturally they have it. Much like, like I said, in Jamaica and in the Caribbean and in Africa, yes, it's like that too, I'm sure. But it's they just get it earlier because that is the sport. You know what I'm saying? It's not I would say, I always say, like, had this country took that sport like a true passion, much like we would any of the other ones, the basketballs and whatnot, then yeah, it's a different story.
Yeah.
But
the big thing is actually with that group in particular is they're playing pickup nonstop.
Yeah. So that's true. That is true.
So the same way they're playing, the same way we play pickup back home, like in Jamaica, etc. Like right. They managed to retain that as they come here. Right. And so, the kids, it starts early. Like I'm talking real early, like 2, 3, the kids are at the parents' pickups and, they're doing their thing, just running around the side, and they continue that. And it just continues. And so, technically that's why they're so much further ahead than, most of the kids that are even playing organized ball, because their level of comfort with the ball is just, is different. But yeah, no, that's crazy. The other story that you brought up that maybe die laughing was about having to run the Cooper, when you go into preseason.
Yeah.
Because it, like, as you say that, I'm wondering if there was like a mandate at all, like,
because it seems like everybody's doing it.
Everybody did it.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know.
I remember my first, like, I was like this in the same way you had that when everybody gets on the line, right? Yeah. And everybody in the whistle blows and everybody's supposed to start running and these guys are sprinting.
Yes.
The first thing that occurred to me, I was like, there's no way you can sprint like 2 miles or 3 miles. Like, this is, and everybody's just flying. And then, like, there's like a 5-second period there where I was frozen. Yeah. And I realized, no, I gotta go. Like, you're in it now, you just swing and swim. No, and then after, like, I remember my first Cooper, my first preseason. Like, when at the second half of the last lap, the body just died, right? And so it was all just heart. And one of my so they had teammates on the sideline. Like, I'm at, like, at this point, I'm at like 11:40. You know what I mean? Like 11:40, and I still have half a lap to go, right? And so, like, everybody, like, all the guys that had finished, was just like, just move your legs, just pump your legs, just move your legs. Like, And then as soon as I crossed that line, when I tell you, I just dropped. Like it was like I made it. I was like at 11:59. You know what I mean? Like for the Cooper, because that was the thing. Like you had to pay. Like if you don't do it under 12, you gotta keep then going. There's all kinds of punishment during like it's like. It's crazy. Like your time, your playing time gets impacted. But I mean, that was I feel like anybody that played college or pro ball from the mid 90s to the mid 2000s had to experience that. Yeah, it was like, I don't know.
Well, they're doing it now, man. It's like
they're still doing the Cooper.
They're still doing it right now. That's what I'm saying. I'm seeing the packets from the kids right now, and it's the same thing. It hasn't changed. Yeah. Now, maybe some schools have changed it up, but for sure, I can tell you right now, there's some kids right now I'm looking at right now.
Also, do like the beep test as well. I guess it's very similar as well.
Yeah.
No, the beep test is even better. The Coop, like, there's no need, James. Yeah. Like, it's just brutal.
Yeah.
We're not Olympic. Like,
I got a goalkeeper right now that's worried about making it, and I'm like, he's a goalkeeper. I was like, you're a goalkeeper. They can't possibly hold you, but then I'm like, maybe they are. I don't know.
They are. No, yeah. I mean, everybody was like, yeah. I mean, everybody had to do it.
Yeah, everybody had to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the summer, like around late July, everybody starts training. You know what I mean? And even after you do all that training, it's still brutal. Like, I mean, it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
But no.
Yeah.
So as you were talking, right? The question I have in my head is, who was your football idol when you were, especially when you came here? You know, because when you were there, when you were in Jamaica, you had direct exposure to the Jamaicans, like different ballers. But when you came here, and you guys started watching more, international games, etc. Who was your football idol then?
All right, so I'll backtrack it just one step, because even when I was in Jamaica, there was this, because he went to the same school, I went to St. George's. There was a player that was named Andy Williams. Andy Williams was, I would say, probably the first Jamaican to make the MLS. And so the way Jamaica structured the Manning Cup is pretty much the biggest tournament it's a high school tournament, but it's the finals. And you have more people show up at a Manning Cup game than a professional game in Jamaica. It's a big deal. But Andy Williams was who I sort of was like, and because you sort of hear the legend Andy Williams, and he played for Real Salt Lake in MLS. And so obviously when I moved in 91, give or take, and then when I moved over, I'm starting to follow him a little bit more. And then where it got probably a little bit more interesting as I moved into college was Ricardo Gardner. So Ricardo Gardner was also another Jamaican that played he played for Bolton Wanderers at the time. And he went to a rival school of mine, Wilmer's. And it was, just to see someone literally your age playing on the Reggae Boys in the World Cup, playing in the on Bolton Wanderers, was like, because I'm in college at that time and he's making these moves. I'm like, oh yeah, this is inspirational. But as I start to watch, I would almost say Ricardo brought me a little bit more into EPL, because that's where I was like watching, Bolton a little bit more. But at the same time, I always had Thierry Henry as my guy. And so, I was following him at Monaco, so there was always that in the background. And then, him in Arsenal just kind of took it a different level. And then that whole Invincible era, which I know we talked about before, but Henry really was, if it was one player that I followed and kind of had that, it would have been Thierry Henry and Roberto Carlos. I would say those two are the ones I definitely were. Because Roberto Carlos definitely played a position I played, and a lot of the game that I was playing, especially on the left, was mimicking his style. I'd almost want to say, but just in terms of sheer art, it was Thierry Henry, and then in sheer terms of someone pushing you further, it would have been like, say, Ricardo Gardner or somebody like that on that side.
Okay, actually, you know what I thought you were gonna say, given you had that Jamaican trend going. I thought you were going to say Ian Wright.
Oh, Ian Wright. No. Yeah, no. Ian came on a little bit further on for me, so I never really followed it, because Ian is, I believe he's English born. I believe.
I think
he's born down. He's born, He's born down. He's born, possibly, maybe. But definitely, we have. See, because the one player, if it's one player that okay, now if you want to say that is Jamaican, that people were like, if you were in Jamaica at that time and everybody was like, that guy is Johnny Barnes.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny Barnes on Liverpool was the Jamaican guy. He was English Jamaican, but everyone was like, that's the guy. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, Ian Wright was there for sure, but it wouldn't at the time. Johnny Barnes was the name that would ring, like seriously ring in terms of Jamaica. You know what I mean? For me,
yeah.
And there's definitely some more players for sure. But.
All right, since you named that, we've done this in the past, but it was in a different venue. But then also after we did it, there was so many people oh my god, I left this, right? Yeah. So you already know the question, and you watch the interviews, you know what it is. So the question is, who's in your top 11 footballers of all time?
Okay, so no particular order, for sure I would have Thierry Henry. Again, that's just my guy. I follow him all the way through, to the Barcelonas, to the Red Bulls, anywhere, you know what I'm saying? Like, or TV broadcasts in Belgium. I don't care, that guy's my guy. Roberto Carlos for sure, because that's who I'm modeled after. Ronaldinho, Maradona, Messi, JJ Okocha, I would say. And Iniesta, Samuel Eto'o, for sure. I saw him live with Ronaldinho and at the Red Bulls, at New York Red Bulls. That was amazing. Neymar, and
two more.
Okay. Did I say Pele already?
No, you have said.
Oh no, Pele. Did I say Maradona? I must have said Maradona.
Yeah, you said Maradona.
Okay.
So
one more. I mean, there's definitely some names for sure I could throw in there, and the list is never going to be right.
Never.
But I'm going to do a wild card. I'll give you a name that right now, because it matters to me right now in terms of youth, is a kid from Belgium, and I posted him in the chat the other day. 19-year-old Jeremy Doku. Right now, so he's the JJ Okocha of the youth. So that's what I'm gonna so Jeremy Doku. I'm gonna throw him in there as the 11th.
Check him out. Shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, you have it. Oh, yeah. No, he's a baller. He got busy during Euros as well.
Yeah. I think his growth potential is going to be in the right environment. He's going to be beyond crazy. You know what I'm saying? But
that's a good. I mean, that's a good list. It's actually a lot different than the last time you and I did this.
I had to put some thought in. Last time I think I had Company in there.
It was a combination of France,
Arsenal's,
and Arsenal.
Yes,
that's what it was.
Yes,
it was heavy.
You caught me off guard back
then.
Arsenal's my team, so my default is like, I'm gonna start listing the Invincibles if I had to for you. So then now I kind of thought about it a little bit more, for sure.
Yeah.
I mentioned Zidane, right?
No, you didn't mention either one of the Ronaldos.
Yeah.
Well, I'm good on Cristiano, honestly. That's a different story.
But you didn't mention CR9.
But I didn't mention CR9. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. But I would have.
You mentioned Davids. You didn't mention Cruyff.
I'm honestly more upset about
Cafu.
Cafu, I was about to say the left back. Cafu.
Yeah, Cafu.
Maldini. All your people. It's okay though. It's okay.
That's tough.
Yeah. Given where you are now, right? So you play the game. I mean, you grew up in the game. You played, and then you've been in this role, coach / actually, tell us more about where you are currently with Aspire, and what I want you to touch on is what Aspire is doing, or what you're doing in particular, to facilitate getting kids the opportunity to play in college as well as pro, internationally, Europe, etc. Yeah.
All right. So like a 1 minute feeder for what Aspire is, or 1 minute segment on it. It's really just a program that's developed for youths who don't have funding to get into the sport. I would say just blanket statement, that's really what it is. So, even if we understand there's league fees and things like that that need to be paid, but we're flexible. So if a fee is, say $100, they can pay me 10 this week, 10 next week until they can figure it out. We're not like that. We'll front it and they help out. Or in some cases, some family just don't have the money. We'll work with whatever sponsors we have to cover that. And then, so that's really the basis of it, is helping youths get into the sport. And then I would almost say it matured into now a pathway opportunities for folks. And that's kind of where we're at right now. I'd say we've always been training and helping getting players up to speed. But then now it's been transitioning a little bit more into, I wouldn't say transition, it's progressing into having them playing in the leagues when necessary, but more so getting into opportunities of pathways is the two biggest things that we do, I would say, in terms of colleges and overseas options and trials. That's kind of our thing. There's a lot of other things that we do, but those are two are the main things. So as of right now, we're focused on a lot of the guys that we've had. When I was mentioning at 11 years old, I've reached a point where now it's 2021, they're graduating. So they're 2002s and 2003s birth years that are now seniors that are now needing to find spots in either colleges or figure out where they're going. And so where I say from a maturity standpoint, which has just been great for me, I'd say a big sort of achievement, kind of one of the big proud moments is that, this year we had a team of 22 people on the roster on the first team. We always had a second team, but the second team was more for just recreational. If you're not really quite there yet, you're just trying to play. But we sort of moved that team to more of a training team. But that 22-man roster, right now it's made up of, it was made up of seniors and juniors primarily. And there's a sophomore in there, but they're all have, as of today, or even say a few weeks ago, all have college offers to play. And that's something that I never imagined would ever happen, because now we even have guys that were typically we would have just like the year before all this. So every year our seniors are playing college. So that's a good thing. But this year was the larger group. So the last year, I think we had 4 or 5 seniors that left off and played. The year before it was 2. And then this year was, the roster was 25, but we have guys who are juniors that already have offers to commit on for the fall. So they are already set based on tournaments that I won't say it's not a crack the code thing, but we definitely figured out a good process that works and establish a good network with several different coaches, several different programs, and put a little bit more spotlights on the kids using technology like VO and different things like that to make sure that they get seen, even if they're not at the game, and then sort of just literally get offers. I mean, that's the main thing. Like, my son, for example, wasn't even planning on playing college soccer. He's not going to play college soccer. He never really had it. Like, I already done told him the stories about the 1 mile in 1 mile and 6. He's like, no, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? But he got offers. So he got offers to play from 2 schools, and he's like, no, I'm good. But there's other kids that are like, yeah, I'm taking it and I'm going. And, and so that is where we're at right now, is at a point where we're moving guys in positions to go to college, to play in college. And I'd almost want to say then there is the select 1% that are I'd say, well, also on top of that, then there's players that weren't even in our program that we're actually reaching out to, like some of the guys that were at the Chelsea camp. I didn't know him, or like one kid, I reached out to him. I was like, I have some college that needs some players. You trying to play? And he was like, yeah, I graduated, but I'm working at the gas station. But yeah. And so I was like, all right, well, Spruce, let me show me something, like show me a film of you juggling or something. Sent it to the coach. He's like, yeah, I'll take him. And that's a true story that happened. Happened to two kids, actually. I told the other kid is a free kick. So take some free kicks. Show the coach, you got a nasty free kick. And he's doing all them little winding kicks. And the coach is like, yeah, I'm taking them. So we're now able to help kids at that age. Yeah, we're now able to help kids at that age who want to play in college, and also help the coaches, especially, to find kids that are that want to be in their program. Because that's, after discussing with a lot of coaches, one of the challenges is commitments. You know, I mean, that's one thing our kids don't have a problem with, is like they're worried if the kid's going to commit or take some other school. Them kids, you tell them first and they're gone. You know, it's not like they're not going to sit there and like, oh yeah, we're going to hold off for 2 or 3 more offers. They're not like that. They're just, because they know they never had it. So it's not and so, you know, I trust in the process that the coaches will do their best to build them up as best as they can. But most importantly, they're going there for education. Let's not kid ourselves. So it's really just for them to get in and do that. But what